Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving deep into a really polarizing figure in modern cybersecurity, Jonathan Scott. Online, he's at Jonathan.one.
Right. And to be clear for everyone listening, this isn't the Property Brothers guy, Jonathan Scott.
No, definitely not. This Jonathan Scott is based in Dallas, Texas. He presents himself as a researcher, deep into mobile malware, spyware, digital forensics.
A truth seeker persona, essentially.
Exactly. But our mission here is to, cut through that noise, understand the persona, yes, but then contrast it with what experts are saying, this formidable and detailed wave of criticism.
Criticism calling his work calculated disinformation and even pseudoscience.
Yeah.
It's quite a gap between how he presents himself and how he's viewed by many peers.
It really is. So let's start with that persona. He claims to be a PhD student, computer science, North Central University.
Uh-huh. But there are reports, right? Allegations he was let go for code of conduct violations.
Yes, and critics point out it's an online-only PhD program, one that apparently, quote, starts every Monday, raises some questions about, the rigor.
It does paint a picture. And then there's that HackerOne claim, being the #1 security researcher in the United States and #4 globally in Q3 2021.
Big claims. How does that stack up?
Well, experts suggest it was reputation hacking. Basically, flooding a system, in this case, a Department of Defense program, with loads of low-severity reports, stuff often found by automated tools.
So quantity over quality to game the ranking.
Pretty much. It's a practice that the core bug bounty community doesn't really respect. And the available leaderboards don't seem to back up his specific rank claim either.
Okay, so that's part of the controversy. But look, it's not all questionable, is it? He does have some actual verifiable technical contributions.
That's the nuance, exactly. He was assigned CVE 2022-23728. That's for medium severity vulnerability in LG phones.
Right, I saw that. And Apple acknowledged him, too.
Yes. Apple publicly thanked him for help with a security issue in Apple Credential Manager. So there's definitely some technical skill there.
Which makes the whole thing more complex, especially when we get to his work on Pegasus spyware. That seems to be the real flashpoint.
Absolutely. His most public work, really, is trying to debunk the big Pegasus investigations.
Yeah.
The ones by Citizen Lab, Amnesty International, highly respected groups.
And his argument is?
Fundamentally, that their forensic methods are flawed. He talks about a lack of transparency, calls their indicators of compromise, the IOCs, unreliable.
IOCs being those digital fingerprints malware leaves behind.
Precisely. And he described this experiment having volunteers basically plant fake IOCs on their phones.
To show that a forensic tool would then find them, implying the real reported infections could also be faked.
That was the implication, yeah.
So how does the broader cybersecurity community react to that kind of work?
Overwhelmingly negatively, frankly. Experts widely call it a disinformation campaign, pseudoscience. They point to basic logical and factual errors.
Like what, for example?
Well, his argument that you can't reliably map an IP address to a country, experts say that's a severe logical error.
Why is that?
Because he seems to confuse mapping an IP to a specific person, which is hard, with mapping it to an autonomous system, an AS. That's standard for getting a geographic location, like the country an ISP operates in.
Okay, I see the distinction. And the experiment with the planted IOCs.
Dismissed as tautological. I mean, if you design a tool to find specific artifacts and you plant those artifacts, of course the tool will find them.
Right. It proves the tool works on planted data, but says nothing about whether real-world infections are legitimate or faked. It's circular.
Exactly. Critics also point to his style relying on ad hominem attacks, personal attacks, and a lot of technobabble. That sounds complex, but lacks real technical substance.
Interesting. So looking at his rise, analysts suggest there might be a strategy behind all this?
Yeah, some suggest a contrarian pivot. Maybe he felt ignored initially, so he adopted this populist marketing strategy to build his brand by going against the grain.
Like an anti-expert.
Kind of. His tactics have even been compared to figures like Alex Jones, where any angry pushback just fuels the fire, gives him more attention.
And didn't someone from NSO Group itself praise him? NSO Group, the makers of Pegasus?
Yes, a sales executive from NSO praised his, quote, genuine, independent, and bold perspective. That connection certainly raises eyebrows for many observers.
Wow. So despite being allegedly kicked out of his PhD program, banned from bug bounty platforms, his claims still had real-world impact.
That's the really concerning part. His debunked claims, They were actually cited in a Polish Senate committee hearing about the use of Pegasus spyware in Poland.
So information widely considered pseudoscience by the expert community still managed to influence a high-level governmental discussion.
Exactly. It highlights this dangerous disconnect. It shows how easily discredited information can potentially undermine legitimate research and maybe even endanger the people that research is trying to protect.
So wrapping this up, what really stands out to you here? For me, it's this strange mix. Verifiable technical skill exists, yet it's alongside this public persona built on claims that just don't seem to hold up under expert scrutiny.
Yeah, it's a potent case study, isn't it? How someone can use maybe modest technical knowledge, but combine it with serious social media savvy to gain real influence, often by directly challenging the consensus.
It leaves you wondering, in this information landscape we live in, what happens when just being notorious, being loud, becomes more powerful than peer-reviewed, verifiable truth?
And where does that leave the fight to maintain integrity and security research? It's definitely something to think about long after we finish this deep dive.